Thanks for joining us today. Today I'm going to be showing you what I call a Sandbox Toy. It's very simple. The kids love it. It's got 4 little wheels and stuff like that. I just got a big chunk of wood here, and I'll take a couple of quick measurements, and then I'll be going to the bandsaw. Okay, here we go. There's a marker on here that tells me my approximate measurements. There's also a safety feature you need to use. A little tiny stick like this has a little cutout on it. And you push on this and you push on the side and you push through. Okay, I'm just going to be sanding some of the rough edges off this so I can draw the pattern. That's all. Now I can go and draw a pattern. Okay, I'm just going to be drawing a freehand sketch of a truck. All my stuff are freehands, and the kids love them. Every one is slightly different than every other one. So I'll just draw it now. Okay, I'm at the bandsaw. There, kind of looks like a truck. There, it's kind of cut out a little bit. Looks like a truck. Now the next thing to put in is markers for where the wheels are going to go. So I'll do that. And here's the wheels that I'm going to be using. They're inch and a quarter. And you just put one here until the whole level is above the empty space here. So you can just sort of put a mark there. And center punch it. Now the wheels are a 1/4 inch hole and the 1/4 inch dowel, but you can't just drill a 1/4 inch hole because there'll be no space for the wheel to turn. So I have to have a bigger drill than a 1/4 inch, maybe 5/16 or something bigger so that there is space in here, because the dowel itself will expand slightly, so everything you want to run evenly. So I'll go and put the drill press on right now. Now the dowel is a 1/4 inch. This is the size of it. And this is a hole I'm going to be putting through the piece of wood to give the wheel some space. So I'll be putting this drill in. And when you're drilling through anything, always use a piece of wood under it so that your drill doesn't hit the steel plate. So I'll put this on. Okay, here we go. Now you always use this piece of wood so that you don't drill down into the steel hole. What I did drill was a bigger hole for the dowel because it needs space to move inside the wood, because the wood will swell slightly. And as you can see, the dowel fits perfectly on the wood, on the wheel. So that's fine. When you put it all together like this, then you pretty well have your car fixed. But before I put the wheels on, I'm going to go over to the router and round all these edges. You always have to go to the left side when you're doing this, because if you go the other way, you'll lose control of this. You want to hang on to your fingers. So I'll turn it on. Okay, the dowel fits the wheel. Sometimes the dowels are different odd sizes, but you just stick a couple of wheels on like this so you get the height that you want to cut it at, and just kind of measure it. Make it a little bit longer, and then go over and cut 2 pieces of doweling that length. After I cut the doweling to size, they're a little bit rough on the end, so I just give them a little bit of a sandpaper or any sort of a thing. So they should be fine. I'm ready for gluing. Now, the average glue that I use is a yellow quantity. It's a good quality. Don't use a white glue for gluing small surfaces. Lots of times you see it where they plaster the glue on, but you only want to put a little dab on. So I'll get a little thing up to pry this up. And get a little stick and an empty can and put some glue in it. That's all you need. And you can use this can for the next 15 years. Now this is why the stick is here. Because you don't want to put a ton of glue on. This yellow glue that you can pick up at any hobby shop, and the wheels also at a hobby shop. And it's very fast drying, and it's very, very solid glue. It's ideal for doing small objects and big objects. And I'll have to give this a few seconds. It doesn't take long for it to set. This is a little car that's finished. If you wanted to stain it or paint it, you can, and it's fine. And thanks for watching. And this is Ron Rushworth. I'm Ron Rushworth from Ron's Workshop, and today I'd like to show you how to make a picture frame holder. It's a fairly easy project, and it will do for almost large objects or small objects, just to hold. And it's fairly easy, so I've cut out a pattern here on a cardboard, and you can trace around. I've traced 2 of these things because you'll need 1 for each end, and I'll be cutting them on a large bandsaw for the larger stuff, and I'll be cutting them on a smaller bandsaw to do the curves, because big bandsaw won't do the curves. Now to cut out a little circle, because the blade won't curve, you have to cut straight lines down. The next step is how to cut a thin piece of wood for your backing. You'll need 2 little strips of wood, and they'll need to be fairly thin. So this is how they'll work. You have to put your guard up fairly close. Well, you get your little push stick, and you can push it through without touching your fingers. I'm going to be using a router, and a router is a highly dangerous piece of stuff because the average motor runs 3,500 revolutions. This thing runs at 25,000 revolutions. So it's going at a high speed, so you have to be extremely careful with it, and don't take your eye off it at all. You always have to go from right to left when using a router. Otherwise it'll go cockeyed. And so I'll turn it on and show you what I mean. Okay, I've changed my drill press into a sander, and you can buy these little sanding attachments. You just take the bit out and use it as a sander. And with this, you can do rounded curves. And to do this sanding thing, you have to have the bottom part of this slightly below your table, and then lock the table so that when you put this thing on, it's actually sitting there, and the sander is a bit below it so that you can push right on the tabletop. Okay, we got the 4 pieces cut out. The width of these things can be any length you want. I usually make them around 6 inches, and because that seems to be an average size. So the only thing left to do now is glue it on or nail it on. And for now, I'll just glue these on. You can buy little tiny clamps at any hardware store. This is the end of the project. The glue will take about a half an hour with this yellow glue. You can paint it or stain it. And this is Ron Rushworth. Thank you.